Excuse me. The custom. I almost said ceremonial. The customary yawn to open this video. I know that I got the overhead light on because this light she don't do white anymore. So I guess I still haven't reset it. I don't think I still haven't reset the light. I think the past tense of reset is reset. Which makes me think there was a word. The word of the day today was insoucious. Let me see. INSOUCIAS. Insouciant. Showing a casual lack of concern or indifference. A casual lack of concern and indifference is different than, because when I heard the word of the day today is insouciant, and it means to be in such a state of calm that the anxieties of life don't bother you. It's to be unbothered by the anxieties of life. And this is like indifference, which I guess is another way of saying that. I don't know. Excuse me. How are you, Eve? Hey, Eve. Sorry. Hey, Holly. How you doing? So today is gonna be a self-read day, and I love, I love that I have this deck now. Because, like I said, there's been some real not proud moments spent on the Astro Matrix, but I'm like, let me get a 3-card reading. They were always good though. I like the 3-card readings on. Yeah. I liked the 3-card readings on the Astro Matrix app. Have you ever felt messed with by the universe? Like there's some kind of collusion to just mess with you. That's where I was today. I'm like, why? If I was the type of person that believed in sign or synchronicity, I would be thinking a certain type of thing right now. I'd be feeling a certain type of way. So, why? What's happening? What's really going on, universe? Tell me. Just got your hair done. Ooh. Happy for you, Holly. But anyway, I'm doing a self read today. I'm feeling foolish and brave because I'm like, oof. I'm gonna use the Mausolea Oracle of Souls and then the Astro Matrix Tarot. And I'm just gonna see what's gonna come out. Let's see what comes out. For moi. Also, to the birds that watch me on YouTube, apparently, because yesterday I was talking about how I've been seeing all these birds running across the street today. And then, or yesterday, I was talking about how I've been seeing all these birds running across the street. And then today, out of their way for no reason, birds are flying. They're flying across the street. I'm walking into work. They're flying in front of me on the sidewalk. They're like, is this what we're supposed to be doing? You happy now? I'm like, what's up with the birds? And then I texted Russ, and he was like, I think he said they heard you or something like that. Oh, well, we'll see. Yeah, there was some, there were a few not quite upbeat ones yesterday. But I guess we're all at different points and we've all gone through different things. So not everything is necessarily going to be as we would like to see it. They've been very active lately. I think somebody else mentioned birds. Wait, were you here? You were here when I was talking about the birds, weren't you, Eve? Or no? I don't remember. Steph. Excuse me. How you doing, Steph? Okay. So for we're reading the reader today, I'm gonna read myself. Can I get a card, please? I'll keep going until one falls out. I feel like I'm like charging something up. Like when you twist up the key. There's a word for it, right? You wind up the wind up toy and then you let it go. Excuse me. I'm trying to not be on here for too long today because I'm trying to go to work on time tomorrow. So, so I can leave earlier. Oh gosh. Oh. Okay. All right, everybody, have a good one. Whenever you see this, I hope you're acting on lemon typical. Thank you, Shakespeare. I'm good. So, first of all, I guess this is I think this is just funny. I think this is just one of those like haha moments. Because I was if there are any birds who watch me, because I was telling y'all about the birds, right? And so two cards fell out. The one on top is the Morrigan, Weaver of Fate, antipathy, introspection, and opposition. And she has these crows, and they've been blackbirds. She has these crows on her arms. Yeah, I was like, I'm doing a self read today, so it probably doesn't matter that. I'll grab this. 1 second. Un momento, por favor. That's funny. I went to a Mexican restaurant after work today and got there. So somebody was like, 3 o'clock, tacos and margaritas, you're coming. And I was like, this is this is how you know that I've gone through growth and healing and I've been on a journey. Because when I was told that I was coming, I didn't not go just because somebody told me I was coming. Because in the past I would have been like, oh, I'm coming. Okay, yeah, no. Because you don't tell me what to do. So and then it would have been a whole, but I actually wanted to go. Why did I do that? Why am I stubborn like this? But it did catch me off guard. I was like, I'm coming. And then they were like, yeah. I was like, okay. Now, I didn't get off at 3. And so I was like, you know what? Because I was feeling a little weird today. I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave this one up to the universe. If I get off at 3, I'll be there. And so I was like, I didn't get off at 3, but I got off at like 3, almost. It was like 3:40. And ended up stopping because I stopped by the place on the way home. And they picked the place in town because a lot of people who work at the plant live outside of town. I live in one of those towns where you'll get people from like other towns who come and work there. A lot of people from other towns come and work in town. And they picked the place in town to make it more convenient for me. And so I was like, you know what? If the universe conspires in a way to get me out of the door while they're still there, I'll go. And I ended up going. Long story short. Long story short, I ended up going. I was like, oh my gosh, I went out for like tacos and margaritas with my coworkers after work. Wait. And then it's like I got 2 burritos from Taco Bell for lunch, and I ate them out in the car because I didn't want to have to see anybody. And then I go in and I'm so full from these 2 burritos. And one of my coworkers is like, "Oh, they have food down in the thing." She was like, "They got food down in the training center. Like, come on, let's go get some." And I was like, "Oh, I don't." I was like, "I'm full." She was like, "Well, they might have dessert." I was like, "I already ate." And with my tooth, and then they were like, "Oh, let's go out to eat," and I was still full. So I ate so little of the food that I ordered, but I'll have it for lunch tomorrow. But anyway, salt and pepper eating. Was I the salty one? So anyway, the Morrigan is here with her little crows. Now you can see her. I was like, okay, because I was talking about the birds. I was like, oh, that's funny. And then Hades came out, Lord of Riches, Equanimity, Wisdom, and Inevitability. And he has a Bident, and we saw a lot of tridents yesterday. I learned the word Bident, I'm pretty sure from Russ. I've never, I mean, it makes sense because a trident has 3, so a Bident would have 2, but I'd never heard the word before, but I said it at some point. So it's Hades and the Morrigan, the Weaver of Fate and the Lord of Riches. What's interesting though is I would have to look up the word antipathy, but the Morrigan carries antipathy while Hades carries equanimity, and the word of the day is insouciance. Maybe antipathy is like when you feel the opposite of what you're supposed to feel in the situation. Where's my phone? Here it is. Hey Siri, define antipathy.
Antipathy means a deep-seated feeling of dislike, aversion.
A deep-seated feeling of dislike and aversion. So that is not what I thought. Antipathy and equanimity. So there's a lightening of that from antipathy to equanimity, introspection and wisdom, opposition and inevitability. The bottom of the deck is Lilith, thief of life, hunger, animalism, and instincts. Bait. Let's see. I'm gonna pull these. Who is that? The 3 of Cups. Of course, it's the 3 of Cups. The 3 of Cups and the 3 of Wands. Okay. A voice woke you up that said Earth signs. Page of Wands, Knight of Cups. This is the most interesting Page of Wands I've ever seen because it's like, what is she doing out there in the middle of the desert where can't nobody see her? Just spinning this wand around. What's at the bottom? I knew this was at the bottom of the deck because it feels like there's something that she's initiating or there's something that she's starting and the Knight of Cups is bringing the water to balance out the fire. And I was like, oh, this is the Temperance card in this deck, and literally at the bottom of the deck is Temperance. But this is happening in the middle of nowhere. And it's in the desert, right? It's a space where the desert is one of those environments, one of those habitats that's the easiest to conceive of as being devoid of life. So let me read these. We'll see. I met another Sagittarius with the Gemini moon today. I feel like is that the most common full moon placement to be born in? Because I feel like there are a whole bunch of Sagittarius Sun Gemini moons there. I didn't meet him today, so I was at the place getting the tacos and margaritas with my coworkers, and one of them was like, she asked somebody what their moon and rising, what their moon was, maybe, or their rising, and he was like, "I'm a Sagittarius Sun, Gemini moon," and he was an Aries rising. I'm like, oh my gosh. I think she was a Sagittarius Sun, Cancer moon and rising. I'm like, I'm a Pisces Sun, Taurus moon and rising. My Mercury is in Pisces. My Venus is in Aries. My Mars is in Cancer. My Uranus and Neptune are in Capricorn. My Jupiter is in Libra. My Saturn is in Aquarius. My North Node is in Sagittarius. My Chiron is in Aries. Like, and then she was like, "Oh, I only know like my big three." And then another coworker pulled up her birth chart because she had a picture of it. I didn't even look at her sun sign. What was her moon? I don't remember. I looked at her chart. I don't remember it because they were looking for her rising, but it wasn't on there. So. Excuse me. I know a few Sagittariuses, not too many. So I opened up to Morgan Le Fay, but that's not the Morrigan. Excuse me. Excuse me. The Morrigan, Weaver of Fate, Demigoddess, Shapeshifter, Riddler, Trickster, and Tester of the heroes. The Morrigan is an agent of chaos. And always more. Wait, the Morrigan is an agent of chaos in always more than she appears. She favors the form of a large black crow and enjoys the spectacle of battle. The Morrigan is the tester of skill as well as of will, tempting heroes away from their true goals and desires. She challenges our self knowledge and our abilities, pushing us ever towards true understanding of who we are, the bad as well as the good. And then Hades. I should read the domain too. 1 second though. It's after this. I think Hades is the last one. Nope. Hades is not the last one. The Realm of Sheol is the last one. Is it before this? So the Morrigan belongs to the afterworld of Anwin. That's an afterworld energy. The realm is the afterworld of Anwin, and then Hades is, obviously an afterworld. The domain of Anwin is the ancient hunting ground of the gods, a land of myth and folklore. It is both wild and unpredictable, and bound by traditions, customs, and rituals as old as time itself. To dwell in Anwin is to be both bound and wild, ancient and childlike, fair and bestial. Oh, it's literally right here. The realm of Hades is, next to Pandemonium, the most mortal of the domains. This is perhaps due to the intensely human nature of the gods that dwell in and adjacent to it. To dwell in Hades is to express the care of the dead for the living, the inevitability of human nature, and the possibility of change, even past the point of no return. Hades, Lord of Riches. Unlike the decadent, fickle gods of Olympus, Hades cares more for the people under his rule than he does for his own pleasure. He endures their sneers and abuses with equanimity, focused on his goals and his responsibilities, knowing that eventually all will come to an end in his realm. Hades reminds us to ignore petty, unworthy distractions and to focus on that which will make a real difference in the world. So it's interesting that the Morrigan is like, she's this energy, she tempts and tests those, and then Hades is like, ignores all of it. Oh my gosh, the word of the day is insouciant, right? This is literally that insouciance. Okay. I feel like I'm decent at ignoring people. I'm actually like, I'm kind of really good at ignoring people. I remember in like seventh grade, there was this one kid who thought he could annoy me or whatever. I was like, you're not going to annoy me. I'll just ignore you. And he's like, you can't ignore me. I was like, I can ignore anybody. And he got mad at me because he couldn't annoy me. I'm like, I told you couldn't do it. Literally all I have to do is not care. So if I don't want to be bothered, I'm not going to be bothered. It's not hard. And I was like, why was it literally today? I'm like, ew, why am I like the burden of being a Pisces fell on me? I'm like, ew, where are all these feelings coming from? I have enough of my own feelings that I don't need to even start to think about other people's feelings or to be feeling other people's feelings more specifically. Like that empathy stuff, y'all can keep it. I got enough feeling of my own. I'm kind of kidding. So I guess it's funny, but you know, that's my chart for you. Also, though, was it yesterday or the day before? Lately, I think it was yesterday and the day before. Um, I've been thinking about how much I actually do care for people. I was like a lot of the time, if I get upset about something, it's going to be because of somebody else. Like I hate when other people are disregarded or mistreated, or like if they're not heard or listened to when they speak. I don't like it. But anyway. If you were a Pisces Eve, you would understand. As a Virgo, I feel like you still get it though. Maybe for different reasons. You've had a crow yelling at you. I think I heard it too. Oh, okay. Your mom was a Pisces? Holly. There's something, I don't know why Hades is holding the apple of discord. Because like the Morgan is literally the energy of that discord. But Hades is holding it in his hand. Like he has power over even that. And maybe that's the equanimity in his insouciance. It's like for as much power as the Morgan wields, being the weaver of fate and all, she's just the apple in the hand in the palm of Hades. What that mean, I don't know. Speaking of the apple of discord, and then Lilith is at the bottom of the deck. I don't think I chose the right deck to read this. I kind of want to go to the SKT. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to. I don't know. Cancer Saturn, no. And I like that Hades, one of his domains is wisdom, as he's holding that apple of discord. But that was the thing about the Morrigan too, right? The tester of skill as well as of will, tempting heroes away from their true goals and desires, to challenge our self knowledge and our abilities, pushing ever towards the understanding of who we are, the bad as well as the good. And so maybe that's why, in part, Hades allows it, because ultimately it leads to the understanding of who we are, the bad as well as the good. Now, for Hades, it feels like it would like the purpose is for the good, but we can't come into a full understanding of the good that we're capable of without also understanding the bad. And so it's almost permissions, I guess. But it's also very how you use circumstances and situations, the chaos of life, to benefit and nourish and enrich oneself. So he puts it in his poem, which is, again, what the Morrigan has the opportunity to do for us in an extremely roundabout way. Children of the Corn, what? I was just talking about Children of the Corn yesterday. Because it was what the hills, I was like, the trees have eyes. That was the day before yesterday. And he was like, isn't it the hills have eyes? I was like, I felt like the woods had eyes too. And he was like, well, what about the corn? I was like, the corn have children. So yeah, Children of the Corn came up. Hey Matt, how's it going? Matthew, sorry. Hey Zana, how are you doing? Oh, snap, it's a Kathy. Hey Kathy, excuse me. Ooh, Blind Pilot, White Apple. Let me put that right here so I won't forget. Excuse me. My Black Moon Lilith is in Pisces, nestled in between my Sun and my Mercury. Maybe that's another reason why. My Taurus moon is like a degree. It's within like a degree and a half orb of Algol. And then my Black Moon Lilith is in Pisces, right between my Sun and my Mercury, like I said. So I can be cold. For as loving as I can be equally, if not more, unloving. And for as unloving I can be equally, or if not more loving. So, can y'all hear my mother yelling? You're whitening your teeth? That's so funny. My dad got teeth whitening pens on Amazon, and today they mailed me a thing that was like, we're a small family owned business. Please leave us a review. And they sent, oh my gosh. I don't understand the universe sometimes. And all of its magic and synchronicity, I'm just like, okay. Because I saw Rob's community post about the Shufflemancy when I was going out to drive to Taco Bell. And I was like, okay, universe, give me a sign. And this song, it was the instrumental for Propeller Seeds that came on. And I'm like, what does this mean? And then I got home and I got this letter addressed to me from like St. Louis. I'm like, what is this? And it had something in it. So I opened it up and it was those people that were like, Thank you for buying the teeth whitening pen on Amazon. Like, we're a small family owned business. If you could leave us a review, we'd appreciate it. And, you can get a $20 Amazon gift card or this or that, blah, 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 whatever. But they sent like a thing that I think it was like one of those opened up it reminds me of the propeller seeds. And there was a big one, and then on the chain there was a big one, a chain, and then a small one on the other side. I still don't know what propeller seeds means, because I'm like, but is that like a spring thing? Propeller seeds are designed in a way to catch the wind and spread out. I don't know. Who knows? Synchronicities just keep coming in, and I'm just like, okay, I'm here. I'm here. I don't know what's happening, but okay. Oh, okay, Zoda. I have Taco Bell a lot too. It's close to work. So. I got it for breakfast one day, and then I was getting it for lunch, and my coworker was like, "You're gonna turn into a taco." Life. That's the cauldron of life, right? The fire and the water mixing, maybe to bring forward new life. This is Scorpio and Leo. My Chiron is in Leo. My Pluto is in Scorpio. And they don't square. Because my Pluto is 26 degrees Scorpio, I think. And my Chiron is like 17 degrees Leo. So it's an extremely loose square. I don't know what this is. What is this Page of Wands doing in the middle of the desert? Maybe that's what the Knight of Cups is thinking too. Like, what are you doing in the middle of the desert? Like, my poor little horse. How are we supposed to make it through the desert and not drink this one cup of water that I'm bringing to you if it doesn't evaporate? Page Wands don't care. She's in her own world. I'm going to look before and after the High Priestess in this deck before I move on to look before and after the Page of Wands and the Knight of Cups in the Wild Unknown. Okay. I was going to go for the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, but I guess I can go for the Wild Unknown. Makes no difference to me. Because I don't know. I don't know if this deck will necessarily take me where this is leading me. I think it might. I'll try a little bit more before I just jump decks. We'll see. Where are you? Watch her be literally at the top of the deck. Oh my gosh. Oof. No! Look at her. Guess who made an appearance? The Eight of Swords with that black crow. So the Eight of Swords and the Two of Pentacles are on opposite ends of the High Priestess. Now the High Priestess has a pomegranate. And it's interesting. The High Priestess is sitting on the moon instead of having a throne and then the crescent moon is on the floor or somewhere else in her card. She's sitting on the crescent moon. But she's also holding the pomegranate, which is the fruit of the underworld. And it's also interesting that her scroll it's like it's tied. It's not unfurled, so it's furled. Her scroll is furled. Is that a word? The Eight of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. So again, it's this energy, just like the Morrigan and Hades, It's like it's finding and creating some kind of, it's creating something out of this situation. It's very, again, like the golden apple of discord in the palm of Hades, knowing that it can be used to create something. And it's almost like it's an energy that creates form out of chaos. I don't want to say it assigns form because that's weird, but it creates form out of chaos. And look at like the intentionality behind her eyes. And she's wearing her yin yang pendant that is pulling this into the light somehow. And it's like that's what the Morrigan is watching. It's like the Morrigan is an agent of chaos, but that's not necessarily her. How do I say that? It's a very like reverse psychology energy. It's very negative reinforcement. But it's like to get us to a place where we create something different or where we turn that into something else. And it's not necessarily to keep us there. And I guess that's interesting because I've recently happened upon, I feel like happening upon is very not what happened. Information was recently brought to my awareness about how it's like the life that I'm living now is a miracle compared to all of my nightmares. Growing up, my biggest fears, the things that kept me very Eight of Swords. And then recently, and this was when I said like the Mars and Pisces transit is triggering me. Um, an opportunity beyond my ability to conceive in a way was sort of offered to me. And when it was offered, because there are like big dreams that I have. And I feel like big dreams is a weird way to put it because it's not like I'm necessarily actively working towards, it's not a dream like a goal that I'm working towards. It's a dream like a thought of my life in the future that I had. And when that opportunity came to my awareness, it was like, this is how. This is literally it. And then I'm at work. Everyone's talking about the transition. I'm realizing it's not something that I necessarily want. I want something different. And then I have to work extra. I got to work more because one of my coworkers in her transition, she's visiting another location. And I'm like, okay, so there's this thing, Mars and Pisces just like put it right in front of my face. And this is my reality. And I was talking to a buddy because I'm like, the magnitude of this opportunity, like life changing, isn't even, it's beyond that. But also at the same time, it bridges things that, not visions, but I guess I feel like it would be better to call them visions of the future than like dreams of the future. Um, but then I was like, I don't know. It's so open ended though. I'm like, I don't even know what I would want to do. um, and it's like it's stuff that I didn't even think that we were doing right now. It's like it's still a years out thing, but for it to be being done right now already, I'm like, oh my gosh. And so did I like jump on that opportunity? No. I don't know. Why am I talking about that? Because of the Morrigan. All of this, a lot of the work that I had to do stemmed from an eye condition that I have. And it wasn't until I accepted my condition that it improved. I went through the entire process of like, that was part of the work on self that I had to do. And then it's like a year, I started my journey at the end of like October, November 2018. I got very, very, very intentional about it January 2019. By December 2020, I'm having cataract surgery. And like, oh yeah, like you developed like severe cataracts. That's why you like blind. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see. And now like I'm doing the work I'm doing. I'm driving to work. Driving is a thing I never thought I'd be able to do because I couldn't see. I'm living so much of life that I didn't think I had to live. And I guess that's interesting because at Tacos and Margaritas today, um, somebody talked about how like 22 was her age and she's 23. And I was like, it's 25 for me, so I got a few bonus years under my belt now. Um, and so then I guess that would be that sort of apple of discord that was thrown in my life that just derailed everything. It was something that I couldn't see beyond, and I had no intention of seeing beyond it. But now, without that blockage, and so maybe the high priestess is offering the fruit of the underworld. Like there's nothing else to say. See, because usually, like if she has a little scroll, it's open and she's reading it or whatever, but it's like it's closed. It's almost like this phase is complete. Eat the fruit, go to the next place. And so now I understand why the Page of Wands would be out in the middle of nowhere doing whatever she's doing because like this isn't my life anymore. And so now I'm like free to literally create, embark upon what, like there's no limitation. I lived a life of limitation. I lived a life of like I can't do this, I can't do that, blah 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 blah. And of course, you know, the depression I sank into because of it. And the circumstances didn't change. I changed. And then the circumstances changed. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Where do I go? It's too much freedom, too much choice. And again, I guess that's the temperance of life. You take the good with the bad type of energy because you don't have any other choice. We don't have any other choice until the point where we do have choice. Then we have choice. Okay. I'm going to look before and after the Nine of Cups. Because I'm like, well, what do I want? What would I choose? Where would I go? Oh, wait, I'm not even looking. Of course. I'm actually going to take both of these. So I found the card I was looking for. I don't see her, so I'm not going to take this one. Is this Isis? I think this is Isis. Well, maybe it's not. No, that's not Isis. That's what's her name? Ma'at. Mott or Mayat, however you pronounce it. She's on the Justice card. This is literally the domain of Duat, the Egyptian realm. So Justice and the Three of Swords are at the cut. Not at the cut, like, so I went looking for the card, right? Before and after, like outside on the window, was the Ace of Pentacles and the Five of Wands. And I took these because of this guy. And I took him because the King of Pentacles is one of the cards that came out. So the Ace of Pentacles and the Five of Wands, like, he wins. He gets the Pentacle. This doesn't feel combative in nature. It's weird. It feels kind of like it's like if the Morrigan ran an academy for the people who make it through the chaos of life and come to a Hades energy where it's like you develop a perspective that's bigger, and then you get to rework sort of your journey in a way. It's like it's pulling, unwinding, and it's like that's the part of fate that almost gets lost because the energy of the Morrigan is what the energy of the Morrigan is. It's very devil energy, but it's not supposed to keep you there. It's supposed to put you in. It's like you don't know how strong you are until you have to be. It's the strength that you gain from the until you have to be. And it's like that's the point. That's why it's allowed, right? That's why we are given the gift of suffering. Because then we find a pathway to liberation ourselves, and in doing it ourselves, we come into a place of power over life. We come into a place of power over the flow of circumstance in life. And so it's in between the King of Pentacles and the Devil, which is interesting because that's fixed Earth. I guess fixed Earth is Taurus. It's not Capricorn. But here's Capricorn. And maybe it's about not being bound by like greed and stuff like that. To not fall prey to the temptation of sort of earthly pleasures and things of that nature, but to sit in a seat of power. And there's nothing that the devil can offer the King of Pentacles that will have him ending up like these two. Especially after going through this. Because he's already, I guess, I don't know, girl. We'll just keep it general at this point. Because the King of Pentacles would have already worked through this energy, would have worked himself through this energy. So it's just like, it's no way. That's why, again, the High Priestess is like, there's nothing else for you to learn. Like, roll up the scroll. You've completed your curriculum. Congratulations. Here's your graduation present. And it's the pomegranate. And so he develops a different relationship with that energy. Now, what's also interesting is that Justice, I already put it back. No, I didn't. You can see how the High Priestess has this upward crescent moon. With the Sword of Justice, it's like it's on the side. So it's both waxing and waning. on the sword of justice. And it's like if she were like this and like this. So that brings in the hermit is behind justice. It brings in a very tangential, perpendicular energy. It's like while we're living our lives in a certain direction, things are happening in another direction. And maybe it's that energy again. Um, anyway. Okay, so this deck did work. Look at me. I was so ready to give up. That's another thing I've had to learn. Not being too ready to give up. Taurus is like, ooh, this is hard. No, thank you. I don't want it that much. I thought I wanted it. Too much work. I don't want it. I'd rather go sleep. And then insert Pisces depression. Okay, anyway. Maybe the message of the Five of Wands too is that we don't do anything alone. Because there's something about being like battle hardened, but it's not by battle. It's almost by, again, the energy. It feels like this Five of Wands is creating the King of Pentacles, and it's not creating the King of Pentacles. It's not like they're fighting over the pinnacle. It's just like they're all going through their own journeys. It's like if you were watching a movie, if it were a movie, it would be one of those where each person has a separate story, and then at some point in the movie, they all come together. And it's like because of everything they went through in the past, it gives them a certain set of skills that they can use when they come together. And it's in the moment that they come together that something makes sense. I haven't finished since 8. It's not the Sense8s. Maybe it is kind of like Sense8 energy. Like I said, I didn't finish it. I wouldn't know. But it's like it positions each person to play the part that they have to play, to perform the role that is theirs, essentially. If that's like if this is then it is a personal reading. If you came in late and I haven't mentioned it since, I'm reading myself. But like maybe like my journey buddy could literally be one of these people for me. And my journey buddy is the one that brought the opportunity to my awareness. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But my journey buddy is an Aries, y'all. So she be like doing stuff. I'm like, I'm a Pisces with the Taurus moon and rising. Do stuff is not in my chart. She got like 10 planets in Aries and Capricorn. I'm like, I'm not a Ram. I can't do it. That's where I was for a long time. Not a long time, but for a hot minute until I met another Pisces. I met another Pisces who does stuff. And I was like, man, like I knew it wasn't an excuse, but to see another Pisces doing stuff, I'm like, I guess that argument's out the window, huh? And then I had a phase of starting to do stuff. And the stuff that I started to do led me to the opportunity that I have today, right? It has not been an easy road. There have been a fair share of demons along the way. I'm not gonna say my boss was one of them, but she wasn't an angel, so I'm just playing, kind of. But she's gone now. Don't got to worry about her. She took care of herself. That's another strange karmic energy that I've been witnessing. It's like there have been people who would mistreat or target certain people and who got away with it for a certain period of time, but then they did something that got them let go. They made a choice or decision outside of everything that they were doing that got them terminated. I've seen it happen twice now. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It's interesting that karma, I guess, would sort of catch up to them in this way. It's like, ooh, that's a choice and decision that you made. So, and I don't necessarily know what it means. I kind of wanted to talk about it. That was the second thing that I've noticed when I talked about the birds yesterday. I was like, yesterday at some point, I was like, I've noticed two things. One of them is this, da 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 da. The other one is that, and I feel like it's Capricorn. When I read Capricorn, when I last time I did all the zodiac signs, it was in that energy. And then it happened again after I did that. So Capricorn for me is in my 10th house. So, if it happens in the career space for me, then that's where it would apply in my life. But I wasn't the person who did it. I was the person who witnessed it. I was on the receiving end of some of it until somebody slipped up. But anyway, oof, she pushes me. I'm thankful for all the fiery friends I have that push me. Good night, Holly. You're probably already gone, but good night. We're all in Chaos Academy together like Hogwarts. I'm House Hufflepuff. I am Hufflepuff. I love Hufflepuff. At first, I was like Hufflepuff, and then I was like, "Ooh, they got the honey badgers." Yeah, I'm definitely a Hufflepuff. See you, Steph. And maybe the High Priestess. She's just such big picture energy. It's like we don't know why the conditions and situations are what they are, or what they have the opportunity to lead to. We literally cannot see it, literally, but the High Priestess can. And she sees where it goes, right? It's very much this energy. And I guess it's interesting because for all of the everything that I say I want, sometimes when I get a little bit of anything, I'm like, ooh, this is a lot. But I'm going to work through it. I'm going to work through it. To become unbound. Okay, that's cute. I want to put another oracle on top of this. I guess I'll go for the Threads of Fate oracle cards because I kind of don't know where to go from here. Not that I don't know where to go. Oh, no, 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 no. I see the Mystical Shaman oracle cards. I'm like, well, I feel like I'm gonna regret it. I feel like I'm gonna regret it. I feel like I'm gonna regret it because sometimes I don't know what these cards mean. Are Virgos leading or avoiding? Hogwarts are best. Let's go. You finished your tea? Oh, snap. Okay. Give me like one card to end this, please. Please. Ooh, I'll take you. But you ain't, it just like, it was sliding out. So I helped it. But no, I definitely want only one card because. And I guess it's interesting that feeling of charging up too. I feel like it was like ramping up. It was building up before it like before it takes off. So everything's been the ramp up. If that's an opportunity that I take, and it was so because I was talking to my journey buddy, and I'm like, because she was like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, I don't know. I feel like a move is coming for me, and for me to move, literally would require for me to have the experience that I've been having for the past September is 9. So since September, okay? I don't know. For the past maybe 7 months. There we go. It literally requires this experience. And I told her like I feel like I might be like relocation might be on the docket for me. And she was like, "Well, let me tell you about this. And you would probably have to relocate if you were to like pursue this opportunity." And I was like, "Yeah, and I just talked about relocating, so oof." The child number 7 at the bottom of the deck, the ghost dance 22. That's the bottom of the deck. The ghost dance flipped over. And the card that was sliding out is the beauty way. 422. Love this energy because it feels very much like this. And this feels again very much like this. And they're both 4s. So that's why I didn't want to use this. I'm just playing. All the Virgos in the chat. Hey. I've never noticed how the child in some ways sits between the light and the dark. Like this side is more light, this side is darker. I've never paid much attention to the child. They've been neglected. Sorry. And then the coyote is behind the child. Behind the coyote is the upper world, which is again, this is all of the cards under the page of wands and the knight of cups. The coyote is very the Morrigan, but then with the upper world being behind it, it's like the 2 of pentacles, 5 of wands, ace of pentacles to create the king of pentacles. And so maybe the temperance of life that was at the bottom of the deck, again, just like this, it's this energy. It's like the things that we have to go through personally to get us to the point that we end up in. It's the water and fire of life and all of the elements that are born from different combinations and different proportions of water and fire. And it's like it all just gets thrown in the pot, and then we figure it out as we go day by 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 day. But it feels like with the ghost dance, it feels like there was and or is a trapped energy. Um, like like it couldn't. Oh, Moonchild. I was like, does that say man child? I am a man child. I can't eat without making a mess, okay? I try, and the harder I try to not make a mess, the bigger mess I make when I eat. And I'm just like, I'm a child. I'm a literal child. This is why I can't take myself nice places. um, ooh. Yeah, but with the ghost dance, it just feels like it couldn't take form for a while. Like an energy that became a specter or a shadow because it couldn't find presence. But now, because the season is changing, it's a seed. It's like if somebody planted a seed a long time ago in an area, maybe that's literally what happened in my backyard. I don't know. But like the environment was never right. And years and years and years and years and years pass. And then because of how everything is changing, the environment changes in a way where that seed can finally grow. And now all of a sudden you get a beanstalk in your backyard and no one knows who planted the bean. It feels like it's that energy. It's things that are finally able to begin to take form and to begin to hold presence. Things that were just like becoming more and more and more energetically emaciated. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Shout out to Reed. Haunted by the daffodil ghosts and the tulips. Soul retrieval and the giveaway. That's interesting. That's an interesting split. The giveaway and soul retrieval. Oof. Okay. I'm going to get last cards in the order that I shuffled them in. I just saw Anubis. So to see Mayat that holds the scales of Anubis and that Justice card. Interesting. Oh, this one might be more collective or something. So I don't know. We'll see. Well, thank you for stopping by, Kathy. Have an excellent night. You want to Oh, snap. Well, I hope you enjoy the concert tomorrow with your mom. I'll be going to bed soon too because I'm trying to go to work on time so I can leave work on time. I'm done working like 9 to 7. I'm doing a 7 to 3 tomorrow. I would if I could. I really want to do like a 6:30 to 2:30 or a 6 to 2. But maybe that'd be a little too ambitious. So the reason why I roll my So the Morrigan comes out. Lilith is at the bottom of the deck. And now there's no Hades. So it feels like it, in a way, it just like devolves without the other side. It's like it's doing this instead of doing this. It's not completing the infinity. It's not necessarily growing more on the other side. It's just like growing heavier and heavier and heavier towards one side. Oof. Never would have thought I'd ask for Hades to show up, but with Pluto holding all the energy that it holds and with me being me, I guess it's not too far of a stretch of the imagination. I am literally the person that said, I want everything and I'm willing to do everything to get it. So, is that not me? It's an energy that lacks grace. It's an introspection because one of her domains is introspection, but it doesn't. It's like there's no mercy for the self. There's no grace. There's no compassion or understanding, and so it's like a demolished ego. And a demolished ego to occupy space, it will inflate itself rather than like building the ego and the ego holding an appropriate amount of space. Like for the amount of space that the ego holds, there is a proportionate amount of weight. But with the demolished ego that's inflated, it's disproportionately large, but also extremely light. And so that is the ego that will sort of fabricate and that will make excuses and that'll do all kinds of things, right? All to cover up something or to keep something hidden. But if there's anything that Autumn Kara messages taught me, it's that we all come into our own at our own time. So I'm gonna keep living my life. Sorry. And that's why I stuck with that. I hope you have a good whenever you see this, and I hope that you are acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. Emphasis on you, emphasis on acting, emphasis on alignment. Because I can't live anybody else's life, and you can't want better for someone than they want for themselves or are willing to do for themselves. So, but also at the same time, I realized that I wasn't always in a position to want the things that I now want. I actively did not want a lot of the stuff because of where I was in life. And I honor anyone who was in that place in their own lives. It would do neither one of us any good for whatever. So, no problem. Good night. Night, 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 night. Night, 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 night. So, is the tarot going to give us something that can counter that? The Morrigan? Or is it just that chaos and randomness is a part of life that will never cease to be? And so the only thing that we can do is shore up our own internal whatever to be able to embrace that and to create a zone that alchemizes, calms, and soothes the chaos, right? To become insouciant and to not be indifferent, but to learn to work with the unforeseeable. So, good night, man. Excuse me. I'm gonna give this 2 more shuffles, and then I'm gonna pool. We'll go for this, not the one that's standing up the most, because they're screaming a little too much for attention. But we'll go with this one. The World. The bottom of the deck is the Hierophant. I think the other card was the Hanged Man. Oh, that's the 1221. I saw, what was it? 12-6-21. I saw the number 12-6-21 today. And I was like, if you Cindy math 1 and 1, you get 2. And if you Cindy math 2-2-2, you get 6. And then if you Cindy math 6-6, you get 12, which breaks down to a 3, but it's the Hanged Man. And then it made me think, I think I saw a 12-21, but maybe I didn't. The card that was sticking out the most was the Hanged one. The card that was also sticking out, but wasn't calling for as much attention was the world. It was. I got the Hanged Man, the World, and the Empress recently because it was 333 that made a 9, and then I think there was another 3-3 that made a 6, and it was about something was harmonizing. I think that was under the Leper King. It was harmonizing under the Leper King and the Poet of Avon. So it had to be when I used the Mausolea Oracle of Souls and the Prime Use Tarot. It was when I used the two of those. I don't remember what I titled it. See, but that's the thing about the world. It's like it's bringing everything, or it realizes the balance to everything. And so it can make anything of any experience for the chaotic and the traumatic and the hurtful, she's able to not necessarily change the experience itself, but to affect the things around the experience. And so it feels like emulsifying something. It's like a water and oil immersion or an oil and water emulsion. Here we're getting Sagittarian now. But it's like water and oils don't mix. The waters are very sort of like polar, and organic compounds aren't polar, and they have these long carbon chains that don't interact with water, so they just like separate. And so it's like, well, if there's something organic that you need to get into an aqueous sort of system, how do you do it? And it's like, well, you find a molecule that has an organic component and a more water friendly component. So the organic piece will stick to the organic and the water will stick to the water. And if you surround it, that's how you get something organic moving through the water. Because it's like the shield accommodates, it goes both ways. The dark with the dark, the light with the light. And so it's like if you imagine this, either one of those dots, is that Earth? If you imagine either one of those dots and imagine that around it there's a layer that keeps that dot intact because it's surrounded by things that it likes. But on the outside of that is what the environment likes. It harmonizes to the environment. It harmonizes to the self and it harmonizes to the environment. And so it moves the self through the environment while keeping the self intact. And maybe with the Hanged One, that's what we're in the process of building. So we can reach the energy of that insouciance where we're less bothered by the chaos of life. And it's not bothered because I don't know if we'll ever necessarily be, I don't know if the goal is to be unbothered. But the chaos of life, it reduces the capacity for the chaos of life to detract us from where we're going, because we become better able to handle it. We become better equipped at managing it. But at the same time, if we need to pivot, then we know to pivot. And so it's not like a blind stubbornness. It's not us just like disregarding everything and continuing to push for something that like we need to sort of adjust our direction in. And now we also see the Taurus and the Scorpio. We see the angel and the bull. Whereas in Temperance, we only saw the lion and the eagle. So in Temperance, we had half of the picture. We had this half, roughly. But we were missing the rest of it. So it's mostly dark. Well, no, because they're still balanced. Well, no, I'll take that back. Yeah, it's mostly dark. If I cut that in half. Bottom of the deck is the Hierophant. with the trident of Shiva. Look at all these mages. This fool's eyes are open. Are the fool's eyes the fool? This hangman. I think the hangman's eyes are always open. I guess now that I think about it. There's something about this hanged man that brings light to the areas where it doesn't break through the canopy. And it feels like that's why it feels like he's hanging here to give these plants an opportunity to get the sunlight that they need. I mean, the top of this tree isn't super thick. So, like, especially right here, they would probably still get enough light. But if it were more full, if it were fuller, there would be less sunlight that would penetrate through to get these the light that they need. Something interesting is happening. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I want to know what it is. I guess I'm curious and intrigued. Um, it's very Arthur energy. Um, when Arthur and the Leper King came out yesterday, it's very that energy. Especially with there not being a Hades to put all of that chaos and discord into a certain perspective where it just runs rampant. Um, the moon and the earth. What? Look at this. We are about to have a lunar eclipse. The moon and the earth. Excuse me. And a solar eclipse. Pachamama. Bottom of the deck is the middle world. So we got the middle world and the spirit of the middle world. What's interesting is that in this card too, we get these little saplings off to the side. But we get the little saplings off to the side because that tree is a lot denser. So if the sun and at noon when the sun is directly overhead and we get the most sunlight, it's difficult for anything new to sprout up here. And so they sprout off out on the sides where you get incidental incidental you get like incidental exposure. I can't pronounce the word. You get incidental. I keep wanting to say incidental. Is it incidental? Incident, right? Incidental. It's like off. Instead of like it coming directly in, it comes in at an angle. And so now they can grow. Oh, look. We got the crows at the top. This feels like what's at the bottom of the deck? Pachamama. No. The middle world was at the bottom of the deck. The sorcerer is under the middle world. We got a 36-9, a 48-12. Oh, see. This is more of that Leper King Arthur energy. It almost reads a little like the second coming of the Christ in a way. Um, but I feel like it would be more than one person. Way showers, I guess. Those who show that it's possible to do the thing where you are. Because some people need to see it in order to know that it's possible, or in order to believe that it's possible, or in order to have the courage to do it themselves. It's just like, well, if you need an example, you'll get one. But even if you get an example, at the end of the day, the choice will still be on you, whether or not you do the things that are for you to do. And also keep in mind that what is for someone else to do, what temperance puts in their cauldron of life may not necessarily be the same as what temperance puts in their cauldron of life may not necessarily be what temperance puts in your cauldron of life. So when they come into their own balance, and as they work their balance to transmute and alchemize and to create, it may be different if you do a first step replication of that, because the materials that you work with may be different. The materia may not be the same, right? And I guess that's the thing about prima materia. Prima materia is the most base, but there are many materiae born from the prima materia in different proportions and combinations and stuff like that, right? It's like how bread and pastry, how there are like a million different kinds of pastries, there are a million different kinds of breads, and it's all like flour and water and some other stuff, right? So I'm actually going to shuffle this again because I forgot the child, the coyote, and the upper world outside of the deck. So let's try that again. Things should be getting easier. Long story short, should be getting easier. I like the word should be. Things should be getting easier. They don't necessarily have to be, but they should be getting easier. Flow in the Andean cross. Okay. So now that the deck is complete, can I get a final card, please? This serpent, I haven't seen the serpent in a minute. The serpent was super prevalent at one point. The serpent, the crow, and the beloved. Look at the giant crow. Look at it. Oh my gosh, this is literally Lilith and the Morrigan. And then the beloved is in between them. Or not between them, it's after that. It's just like, I don't know. Take it as it resonates. Believe what you believe. But it's just like life is not meant to be endless tragedy and chaos and back and forth and never finding ground in joy or happiness. It's meant to be enjoyed and experienced, but to do so, there are choices that we have to make, even in circumstances where we didn't have choice. Because at the end of the day, we always choose how we move forward. And depending on what one goes through, that statement has a range of insensitivity, but it I don't want to say it doesn't make the statement any less true just because it's insensitive. But I guess I would just be the type of person that wouldn't want to experience a pain or trauma, and because of that, um, dedicate myself to a life full of it. It's like that experience sucked. That experience really sucked. But I want better. I want something different. And if I have to add something to the equation to get it to balance out in a way, it's like correcting a dish. Um, then that's what I'd rather do, because I've experienced a more guilt-free enjoyment of life, I guess. And it's like, I don't know, I lived at this point the greater majority of my life um, just in a not great, like not wanting to live life. It's like if I'm not, I'm not going back. So you know what I mean. Um, for the things that we don't choose, that has no bearing on who we are, and I don't look at. I don't want to say I don't look at the past, or I don't look at what has come before, because I know sometimes some people will say, like, if you experience a certain thing, maybe it's karma from a past life or whatever. And I guess in my life view right now, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I want different, I want better. So it doesn't matter if it's coming back because of this or because of that. I'm going to work through whatever I have to work through to get different and to get better. Intentional or not, I'm indifferent because I know what I want. So, with all that being said, I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, or way, and however you need it, you find it. I hope that um, I hope you find yourself one day in a place in life where you hold much joy, and that you can uh, I guess be in a space to appreciate it, to recognize it. So I'll catch y'all later. Have an excellent night, Matthew. Thank you. And everybody else who came through. Thank you as well. Bye.